Greetings, Pathfinders! I'm your host, Dustin Knight, and welcome back to another edition of Infinite Reviews. Tonight, we're going over the amazing Paizocon Infinite Community Mega Bundle. First, I do need to clarify that all views on this show are my own and have not been reviewed or endorsed by Paizo. My ongoing goal is to showcase and review as many third-party Pathfinder and Starfinder products as possible. As usual, if you have any requests for other products I haven't already given a thorough review, please feel free to contact me on social media or catch me in my Discord at infinite.net. So, if everyone's ready to start the show, we will go for it. First, though, I do have some Paizocon news. Just wanted to point out the stuff that already hasn't been pointed out elsewhere. Oh, thank you, Osiris. Yeah, I love this pin. It's you could go to the Paizo store and pick up your Pride pin at paizo.com. It's just a great little way to show support here, whether you're streaming or in person at a organized play event or convention. I really, really do love pins. Love having them in my lanyards for conventions, etc., etc. Good to know that you're here, Monty. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. So first thing I want to do show up is you should head probably to nodirectionpodcast.com if you want to listen, or youtube.com/Paizo. Go to Paizo's YouTube channel if you want to watch all the great streams and coverages. Especially if you're a third party or infinite creator, it's important to keep on top of what's coming out so you could start racking your noodle about what supporting products you might be able to make, like Dark Archives coming out. Maybe there's some special kind of psychic that you're pretty sure probably maybe won't make it into Dark Archive, or if it does, maybe you could release a supplemental to it with a bunch of new feats. Kind of figuring out what the Zeitgeist is from Paizo and from other publishers is really important. There is also a Publishing on Pathfinder Infinite seminar that you could probably catch on the Day 2 Twitch video on demand at Twitch TV/official Paizo, which me, Vanessa Hoskins, Ron Lundeen, and Mark Moreland all had a absolutely fabulous time. It was a really fun panel where we talked about what Pathfinder Infinite is, why it's fun, why it's important. We had a great time, and once it's up on YouTube, I will be sharing it to as many places as possible. I also do want to point out, as you won't hear about this in a panel, Owen Casey Stevens at owencaseystevens.com it's currently up to 3 parts. Owen on the Couch. It's a bunch of great advice for getting into the industry, getting into third-party writing, just absolutely timeless, wonderful, awesome advice. For those who don't know, the infamous couch at Paizocon is a wonderful place to meet with these veteran designers, veteran publishers, and get feedback on your ideas, get connections, ask them for work, and most of all, get advice. The advice on Owen Casey Stevens' blog at owencaseystevens.com has been incredible. Of course, the best advice that any of them could give you is just start writing now. Start writing whatever you can. Blogs, posts, books, Discord conversations, Reddit posts, whatever. Just start writing now, because like I heard from several people at this point, a lot of people in the industry have what is approaching or is low self-esteem and not believing in ourselves, and frankly, you just have to break through that, and you'll be shocked how many people really appreciate, use, and love your work. Are you sure hiring out everyone with a $0 budget wasn't the main strategy to go with? Yeah, I hear you. All right, and but the main topic of today is the Paizocon Community Mega Bundle, which is still going to be on sale for at least the next 24 hours. So if you haven't already picked it up, you should go pick it up. If you haven't already told people to pick it up, you should tell them to pick it up. It's only $24.99 for $110.41 worth of content. It's absolutely incredible amounts of content. That's what we're going to be going over today. I will be doing skim over reviews over the stuff I've already reviewed. So if you want to see that, though, that skim over review, you could go ahead and check that out at this URL that I definitely have saved right over here. You could go ahead and check out all my reviews at shows.infinite.net. That will send you to this Google Doc. Feel free to comment if I have made any mistakes on the URLs. I will copy that into chat really quick. This has a list of every product I've reviewed, including a link to the YouTube exactly timestamped to where the review of that product begins. Shows.infinite.net. And links to where you can pick up the product. In addition, I have tagged all the products that are already in the bundle, so if you want a more thorough review than I'm giving today for something I've already reviewed, you could watch that review right here. And that will have more information than I will be giving today on the stuff that I've already given a thorough review to. In addition, anything I give a review to here, I might go back and review later, because this is just a skim over review. Also, should probably point out in chat that if you want a link to our bundle, you could do so at bundle.infinite.net. That will send you right over to the PathfinderInfinite.net store. And while I have everyone here in chat, I also would like to point out that we have a mailing list. Helen Savor has taken it upon herself to make this awesome mailing list on our Discord. If you want to share your product on the mailing list with or without a coupon code, you could go ahead and head to our Discord at infinite.net, go to the mailing list channel, and there you will find the pinned thread for that week. And it will send off sometime during and or after the show. You will get an email with all these coupon codes and all these great products from Pathfinder Infinite if you sign up for our mailing list at mailinglist.infinite.net or mail.infinite.net, and you will see the sign-up sheet for this awesome mailing list where you can receive an email every week about all the latest and greatest Pathfinder Infinite products with great possibility, definitely this week, of coupon codes for these products, including a coupon code for Dulohana Galarian. So there is that, and definitely had to get that out there. Very, very important stuff. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So let's go ahead and flip over to our PDFs, and I'm going to quickly go over everything in the Pathfinder Mega, the Paizocon Infinite Community Mega Bundle. Which, and to answer people's questions I've been receiving, there will be another bundle for Gen Con. It will be, mid-August, early August. I will start sending out the emails, the Discord DMs, the Twitter DMs, and the Facebook DMs to everybody who previously signed up, and making a new sign-up sheet and making sure, organizing everything. And that will start in early August, so keep an eye out. If you DM me about it now, I will probably forget come early August. Sorry about that. Just being honest with you. So just the best way to know is to sign up on the infinite.net, sign up as an Infinite creator, get that role, and you will see the when I all the Infinite creators with, there's a new bundle, sign up here. Start in July. Oh yeah, that'd probably be better, wouldn't it? Start in July. I accept that. Gen Con's early August? I thought Gen Con was mid to late August. Oh, you are right. I am so sorry. Yeah, we'll start in July. We'll start mid-July. We'll start organizing the bundle. I sometimes I get Gen Con and a friend's birthday mixed up. I have a friend who was born in August 25th, and I get the birthday and Gen Con mixed up. Sorry. And they changed it. It used to be later in August. Okay, well, thank you there, Paper Ninja. I will not be at Gen Con in person this year. Sorry, but hope to see people there in the future when things get more sane. All right, so we are going to head on over and check out these PDFs. First, I'm going to go over everything that I've already done a thorough review of, just to give people an idea of what these books are like. 100 Hooks and Rumors to Hear About in or Around Magnamar is exactly what it says on the cover. There's 100 different rumors. You could roll a D100. You could go over them and decide which ones you like. If you're adventuring in or around Magnamar, or frankly any urban area, there's some great adventure hooks in here. It is just chock full of 100 different ideas. Some of them could be false information to lead PCs to wrong conclusions. Some of them could be straight up their next adventure. Agents of Edgewatch, Missing Persons Wine Merchant is a supplement to Agents of Edgewatch, but it could be put into, frankly, any Absalom adventure. I had it in my home game ish as a possible path. My PCs ended up going to a different place, but it's still possibly there. Uh, it's a really cool adventure by Helen Savor. It gives you a timeline of all this information about this missing person, where to find them, and who to ask, and it helps segue between these two parts in the early, I believe, book 1 or book 2 of Agents of Edgewatch that otherwise don't have the best segue. So there's also some fun stats here for some NPCs. There's a great Tengu here with a whisk as their weapon, as they're a chef, and I absolutely adore that Tengu. And you could find the full review of that at that list at shows.infinite.net. Archon's Archive, the Brawler, gives you a Brawler base class that lets you kind of pick up Monk and Fighter feats pseudo on the fly using martial versatility. And it's a great place to go if you want to kick butt with your unarmed strikes, but you are not looking to be the wise kind of monk. Heroes of Omen, the Paradigm. This is not only a base class that is ideal for taking archetype feats, but it is a bunch of great expansions to existing archetypes, especially those from Lost Omen's World Guide, like the Red Mantis Assassin, the Pathfinder Agent. There's additional feats added to all of these archetypes, and of course, more feats that don't previously exist for these archetypes. Which really helps expand upon these really flavorful archetypes that could have used a little more help earlier in the 2E line. The Jester archetype by Sari Rowland is a really fun archetype to, well, exactly like it says, play a Jester. You get a lot of reactions and bonus reactions. You can make people laugh. You could flip around and be all acrobatic to dodge attacks. And at 16th and eventually 18th level, you get a killing joke that literally just, it's a joke so funny they die. There's also in stats for the Copycat, which is this really cool magic item that I love because it doesn't, it scales well. It's still useful at higher levels, even though it's a level 4 item, which I really appreciate that. Kitsune Galarian, one of the biggest books in Pathfinder Infinite. Kitsune Galarian is a complete detailing of heritages from all across Galarian. Bias warning, I wrote this. The writers are all incredible in this. Alexander Agunis was an amazing author and developer for this book. There's so much in here. I did a full hour-long review of this book. I could do another one, frankly. There's information on Daikitsu. There's some new archetypes in here. There's new magic items. There's new options on playing a Kitsune, a species reforged completely with new new rules for polymorphing as a Kitsune, and new heritage options. And Kitsune from all over, including Arcadia, Tian Sha, Avestan, all the way from Numeria down to Varizia, down to Osiria. It's an incredible book, and I absolutely love it. And it definitely has my paw print of approval, even if I didn't write in it. Like I say, like, this would easily be my favorite book. It's one of the few Pathfinder Infinite books I've printed out just because I reference it so often. It's nice to have a printout for it. But there's obvious and clear bias there, given my username, and it's my favorite ancestry. But fabulous book. In addition, you will get the expansions to Kitsune Galarian, which include Kitsune Galarian Foxfire Adepts, which Alex and I did a very thorough review of during one of my first, if not my first, interviews on this show. It is an entire archetype and some items dedicated to the Foxfire feat. So if you want a Kitsune who can create little Foxfire motes and throw them at people as a weapon, this is definitely your way to go. Lost Elements Ancestry Dragonkin by Louise Loza. Incredibly cool book, incredibly cool ancestry. If you want to play this cool half-dragon humanoid thing, this Dragonkin, this has information about the ancestry. It has all the feats you need to play them. And as far as I'm concerned, looking over the balance and everything, not only is it show why Luis Loza is a amazing developer from Paizo, but this is perfectly in line with this is when I had a player who wanted to play a dragon, I basically threw them this. Battle Zoo Dragons wasn't out yet. I threw them this and say, let's just use this. We'll change your size. We'll say you're a dragon. And if you find any other Dragonkin feats, we could add that to this, but this is a great chassis. It's an awesome, awesome book, and I'm really happy and proud that it's in the bundle. Mary Bears, again, happy and proud this is in the bundle. Like I said in my review of it, I wasn't sure what to think when I first saw this cover, but after I started going through the pages, I absolutely adore this ancestry. They did a great job figuring out where this goes in Galarian. It is kind of a Care Bear ancestry, but it has moments that are very, I mean, when you first see it, you might think it's just for silly campaigns. It's not. There's a ton of stuff in here that makes this a very valid fantasy ancestry. Of course, if you want to be silly and have it in a silly game, it's great for that too. I'm all in defensive silliness, or silliness juxtaposed with seriousness. I feel like I'm coming at this from a defense. This is a great ancestry. There's a lot of really cool stuff in here. You could see my full review up on YouTube. There's just some incredibly good feats here. It's well designed. The formatting is nice. The artwork is wonderful. There's even there's some great items in here. There's some like honey mead and honey ale. There's just some really cool stuff in here for Care Bears from all over Galarian, by the way, from Arcadia to Avestan to Tian Shaw and beyond. It's just really cool ancestry. All right, novel class archetype Gingerbread Witch. I did a review of this as well. That again you can find up on YouTube at shows.infinite.net. It lets you bake little familiar cookies and bake cookies that have spells in them, be they positive or negative. It is a class archetype for the witch by Novel Enigma. It's really cool. I love it. It's kind of classic. And any book that has a feat called Bad Bad Cookies has to be fun, and it is fun. You will also get in the bundle novel options Primal Illusions. This includes stats for the Mentalist base class, which is kind of like a more roguey mesmerist. The Primalist base class, which is kind of a more caster-focused druid. Ish. It's a focused primal caster. It's cool. It also includes information for archetypes like the Warder, an abjuration-themed archetype, the Bomb Maker, a more bomb-centric alchemist for those alchemists who just want to do bomb damage, the Chemical Brute for a more mutagen-focused alchemist, the Malice Binder, if you want to... Malice Binder was... Yes, the Malice Binder for... using little pieces of people's I don't want to say bodies against them, but like using little pieces of like voodoo, like I don't want to say voodoo, but using pieces of people's bodies as material components to enhance your spells against them. So novel options Primal Illusion's a great way to give an extra boost to your casters if you don't feel like you're there yet. And if you want to play that kind of half caster, half rogue, Mesmerist is a really cool way to go about it, and my favorite thing about the book. Novels options Magic gives you the Zealot, which is kind of like a Divine Magus. The Thurge, which is a very focused caster that could do multiple traditions. And gives you a bunch of new archetypes like the Meta Magic Master, the classic Bloat Mage and Shield Mage, the Corruptor, and the specialized research field, the Preservationist, and a whole lot more, and some cool spells. Yes, Eldritch Dreams. Yes, sympathetic magic. That's a good way of putting it. Thank you very much. Origami Folder by Helen Savor. I did a full review of this only a couple of weeks ago. It's awesome. Whether you're taking it for the archetype to be a talisman-y wielding origami folder, or you just want all this awesome consumable origami that you could do so much with, this book is great. It's fantastic. I love it, and it is also part of the bundle that you could get at bundle.infinite.net. People in Glass Houses is an incredibly cool adventure. The review of it is full of spoilers, but it's really cool. There's a lot of Fey elements. It's kind of an urban intrigue. I definitely plan on using it myself. The artwork in it is fantastic. I absolutely love the artwork in all of Sari Rowland's books by Natalie Rowland, and you should definitely go check it out. Queer Finder is also in the bundle, one of Pathfinder Infinite's big breakout hits. It has so much in it by so many different authors. Perfect for Pride Month, perfect all year round. It's just an incredibly cool book. There's a ton of consumables in here that I've used in my own campaigns. There's an adventure in here I've used in my own campaigns. There's a lot of great flavor in here. If you have any adventuring in Absalom, this is perfect for it. There's an entire new organization called Queer Finders with a bunch of great items for them, and all these different bars all over Absalom. So if you ever need a bar in Absalom that you want more information for, you could find it in there. Like Helen Savor said in chat, there's just so much cool stuff in here. The artwork is fantastic. The layout is great. It makes a wonderful fanzine. I'm sorry we didn't get a Wayfinder in time for Paizocon, but if you haven't already seen this, you could almost consider this your fanzine of the month, your Paizocon 2022 fanzine or magazine by fans. So definitely check it out. There's a bunch of incredible authors in this book. It's awesome. It's great. I love it. Check it out. Scarlet Rose Avengers is our Pathfinder, one of our Pathfinder 1E options in the bundle. It's a hybrid class of the Inquisitor and the Cavalier, with a Grey Maiden kind of motif to it. Really cool class. I love it. Looks really balanced. It's a fun martial caster, 6th level caster, 3/4 space attack bonus class, with a lot of customization, some really cool ways to get some. You could take it as you could be a good defender, you could be a good tactician, you could be a good striker. There's a lot of cool paths here. It's a really cool class. I like it a lot. Haunting of Blackthorn Manor is another adventure by Sherry Rowland, illustrated by Natalie Rowland. Really cool, level 4 to 5, kind of horror themed. Really cool. Make sure to check out my review of that if you want to run it. There are some spoilers in there, but not at the very beginning. Moving Day by Vellum and Lace is also a part of the bundle and is amazing, is awesome. We were told on Discord that Chapter 7 is coming out very, very soon, if it's not already out right now. Or Episode 7, I should say. Love the story. You will get Episode 0 as a part of the bundle. It's really, really fun. Written by Helen Savor and Vanessa Hoskins. Definitely check it out. Oh, yes, Episode 7 is out now! Oh, can I just stop the stream and go read it? I probably shouldn't. No, I probably shouldn't. All right. Wrecked Upon the Shore is another. I did a full review of this. It's by Simon Hunter. It works excellent as a continuation of the beginner box, as it's this full 45-page adventure that takes place in Otari, and it has everything you need to run it. It has maps. It has stat blocks. It's a very, very, very professionally produced adventure that looks really fun to run. All right. Now we're going to get into the books that I have not given a thorough review to, which, as I looked over this list that you could find at shows.infinite.net, I noticed that that includes pretty much everything I've written, as I've only done reviews on books that I wrote for a publisher, such as Kitsune Glorian and Legendary Shamans. So there will be some of my own stuff in here, and I will give full bias warnings on that. But most of this is not mine. Most of this is just stuff that probably released alongside a bunch of other great products at the time, so I didn't get a chance to go over them. Archon's Archive gives us the Inquisitor class for Pathfinder 2e. I love, really quick, just want to point out, I love these little notes here. There's some notes here from Archon throughout the product that help add some flavor, in addition to giving you some solid advice for running the class, which I really appreciate that. The class itself is a wave caster. It gets its spells kind of like a magus. It is a divine caster. Its key ability score is wisdom, but it has options in its class path, which are called courts. The different courts of the Inquisitor will modify how your Castigate Judgment spell works. Your Castigate Judgment spell, which kind of tells you what the class is all about, gives you bonuses to recall knowledge against your target, in addition to some kind of minor debuff if they fail a save. This class is all about using recall knowledge to get information about your targets, and then get bonuses against targets that you have successfully used recall knowledge against, which then leads to debuffing them as you attack them, and juggle different types of damage by using different, depending on what court you're in. Like there's a court against werewolves where you do silver damage with your focus spell. There's one where you'll do alignment damage based on what deity you worship. It works really well. Definitely plays up being a Inquisitor. Uh, does what you expect an Inquisitor to do, being this kind of a little bit more martial than a cleric, but still able to cast spells. Kind of Inquisitor. I do love spellcasters that get a lot of use. I love the idea of this, like, balancing being a spellcaster with a martial with recall knowledge. It will definitely make it so you get to use those 2-action cantrips, you get to use those 2-action spells and focus spells, and then use that 3rd action for recall knowledge. Or you could then go strike, maybe single action spell, maybe recall knowledge, maybe stride. It gives you a ton of options in combat as what you could use. Having that recall knowledge let you do extra precision damage and let you do extra cool stuff. Gives you a lot of cool options. Of course, you should talk to your GM in advance, or if you're the GM and you're pushing this class on your players, you should make sure in advance to make note of how your recall knowledge works in your campaign. After talking to several GMs and authors, everyone uses recall knowledge slightly differently. Most people tend to run it a little bit stronger than it is in the book, so to speak. I like it. I like it. Someone tell Monty in chat that I like this. I like it. Monty is in chat right now saying that he can't. He can only read my lips. He can't quite tell if I like it or not. No, I do like it. It's cool. Yes, the Inquisitor courts include the Court of Ashes. Lets you reduce a target's resistance. And you get the Judgment of Immolation Judgment spell, which does fire damage. The Court of Expulsion gives you the Judgment of Exorcism spell, which does, I believe, mental damage. And you can, or it makes it, oh no, I think that's one where you push people. You push people away when you use that. And with your Justichar's Demand, you can make the first square or so that the target tries to move difficult terrain. So you can push them away and make it harder for them to come closer to you. So better for your, like, long range Inquisitor, so to speak. Court of the New Moon is your silver damagey one. Not that it only does damage against people with weakness to silver. It just also lets your attacks count as silver and gives you some bonuses against those kinds of enemies. And you get Judgment of Moon Fury. Court of Perdition, also known as Witchfinders, lets you do bonus damage to spellcasters and do really cool stuff to spellcasters and flat-foot opponents with your castigation. Court of the Reliquary is all about protecting people from dangerous artifacts. Would be absolutely perfect for a Pathfinder, and probably has some great synergy with Dark Archives flavor. The Inquisitor feats, you have stuff here for crossbows. You have stuff here for kind of like cleric feats that give you access to domains, stuff like Splinter Faith. Then you got stuff here that gives you some more martial options, whether you want to be long range or melee range. You got cool stuff here. I love, the first thing that jumped out here on me is Distort Time, because personally I love Inquisitors of like Shaika or other deities dealing with time. I love playing time cops. Distort Time is a free action. Once per hour, you can be quickened for a round, but the next round you are slowed for a round. That just shows the cool level of like tactical options in this product. And I will definitely be saving this product for a more thorough review when we go over like player options or what have you. I am going through right now just to show you guys how much content there is in here, because there's a lot of really cool stuff in here. Lucky Stars lets you do an astrology check to use astrology lore once before your next daily preparations to do recall knowledge about a creature. If you do, it counts as a specific lore, so it effectively lets you use it like with a +4 or higher modifier to that check, depending on how your GM does specific lore. Oh, I do want to point out also the castigation ability. It also lets you, when you do your recall knowledge against the target, you can make the recall knowledge yourself. It's not a secret check. So you could use hero points to re-roll it, which is really cool. And you cannot critically fail, which makes sense, because what would a critical... That would be... I'm glad that was put in there, because a critical fail on a not secret recall knowledge is weird, because now you're in the awkward position of having to lie... having to act like your character doesn't know something that your player knows. So that it was really smart to put that in there. And I think necessary for a class that is completely based around recon knowledge. There's also an archetype in here for multi-class characters, and there's a class archetype in here for Inquisitors who are not bound to a deity, which I really appreciate that too. The Hex and Hammer archetype, you lose some, you gain some, you still get some spells based on your patron. You still have a patron, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a deity. And it would be pretty easy to change this over to an ideal or something if you wanted to, but that'd be kind of weird because you are an Inquisitor. It's still cool. I really appreciate it. It works for a fun kind of slightly more divine warlock that isn't completely based around spamming Eldritch Blast. So I do kind of like that for flavor. And we have an iconic Inquisitor with a full build here if you just want to jump into the Inquisitor and not have to think about what feats to take. And that's pretty cool too. Is a Court of Perdition, Inquisitor of Calistria. With a whole backstory here. Great. So also in the bundle, you will receive Revenge of the Deceiver. This is a short story written by Monica Valentelli. Sorry, I'm going to mispronounce that. Valentinelli. It's a fun short story that I don't want to spoil anything about. What I do want to point out that's cool about this is there's a 2-page thing here at the end that explains what further adventures you could have with the characters in this story. And how you could include them in your campaign as NPCs. I think that's really cool. Full about where they are in Golarion, what they could be doing in different parts of Golarion, why they could be, say, working for Razmir or doing naughty things in Absalom. These are not good characters. So that's really, really cool there. And as a companion piece to this, and you will also get this in the bundle, there is Unlikely Companions, which gives you first edition stats for these NPCs and a bunch more information about these NPCs that frankly are really, really easy to convert to second edition. I mean, most of this, like everything I'm showing here on the page, I don't think any of this is strictly first edition. It's fairly system agnostic. The stats here are definitely for first edition. These are, let's see, level 4, level 15, and level 16, these higher levels. But it is fun to see these stats for these characters from the fiction you just read. I like that a lot. And there's a lot you could do with these NPCs in a campaign as allies or enemies, despite their less than good alignments. I'm going to put up a spoiler warning now and just say... So I love the serpent folk in this. They're Chisinlath. They are from the old war between the Aslant and the serpent folk, and they were kind of preserved until then. So they're kind of an isekai serpent folk, which I think is really fun. They're like, the world sure is different now. You mean humans are everywhere, and we kind of aren't really at war with them anymore? Oh, okay. And they in addition, after they get reincarnated into modern Absalom, so to speak, called the Reincarnated, more preserved than reincarnated, but it still works. And there's also stats in here for them as an undead. Now that the vengeance has kind of taken them over and they want to kind of retake the surface for the serpent folk. But I like that a lot. Seeing a serpent folk main character is fun. Yeah, enough spoilers there. Let's go on to our next product here, Virtual Worlds. This book gives you full rules for playing in virtual reality in Starfinder, which really, really cool. There's going to be, I think this is really, really neat. There's full rules here for creating your virtual world, which will very heavily depend on kind of who created it, what rules they put into place in their virtual world. Is there magic in their virtual world? Is it harder to cast, easier to cast? Do they have an alignment component to their virtual world? Probably not, but they could. And what is the feedback like in that virtual world? Is it dangerous to the people playing? Is it just mental damage, so to speak? Or is it completely harmless and they never feel pain in there? There's some example notable virtual worlds from across the galaxy: the Hall of Knowledge, the Shattered Paths, the Torin Institute. They give kind of, like, for example, the Torin Institute's a virtual reality think tank. It's part of a larger campus. It's a modern architectural style with lots of labs. Each user is automatically given a research assistant with a data pad who is there to help them out while they're there. So the second you log in, you'll get these research assistant AIs that will just be there to help you out if you need it. just an example of one such thing. There's costs here for making your own virtual reality server. There's virtual equipment here, stuff that only works inside the virtual reality server. Are the safety protocols off? Yes, Helen. The safety protocols could, in fact, be off if feedback is set to harmful. One thing I love in here, though, is players inside the virtual world can hack the world they're in while they're in it to do stuff like buff themselves, overcharge their next attacks, pull items out of thin air, just kind of hacking it with computer checks, or even changing their avatars, disguising themselves, or scrying far distances. I think that's really clever. I love the idea of being able to try these difficult computer checks to hack the virtual world in which you're in and kind of Neo Matrix it. I think that's really, really cool. Oh, and there's a bestiary. There's software imps and some more virtual reality interface systems in here. Yeah, so this is a great little supplement if you ever wanted to throw your Starfinders into a virtual world, which frankly, you don't need to make your entire campaign that. This works great for a one-shot. It works great for a longer campaign than that. You could do a lot with this, and I love that it's a product, and it is part of our bundle. The Reach of Hell is another awesome Starfinder Infinite product. This one lets you use Thessalonian and Chalaxian. It kind of brings forward Thessalonian and Chalaxian stuff into Starfinder. So in here we have Sin-Scarred as a species. We have Sin-Stained Feats, like the ones from Pathfinder 1E, where if you take more of them, bad things happen, but they buff what the feats do. Being that these are general feats, I appreciate that. We need more general feats in Starfinder. They have stats here for Scars of Sin, if you're scarred as a Sin-Scarred, based on the 7 different Thessalonian runes. And they have full rules here for the Order of the God Claw. If you wanted to play a Hell Knight in Starfinder, here are the rules for it. They're right here. It's not necessarily my thing for a PC, but hey, cool. If you want to play that Hell Knight and you are playing that kind of a campaign in Starfinder, you got rules for it now. And I will definitely want to go over this in more detail when we do a more detailed Starfinder Infinite show. Drop-in NPCs by Matt Morris. The Matt Morris. This book gives you 4 Aspis Consortium NPCs with full stats. It's always nice to see some humanoid bestiaries, as so many of them are taken up by non-humanoid, even non-intelligent creatures. They give you some really cool abilities in here, like there's a shadowy rogue in here that they get their sneak attack, but they also get umbral pulse. They can make a big pulse of shadows that distract enemies. And I love how much you could do with just humanoid NPCs in this game. There's so much customization you could give them. You could see it in the guild, in the Game Master's Guide. There's a lot of really cool flavorful NPCs that could do stuff like throw paperwork at you if they're a barrister and stuff like that. And there's a lot of that in here. And hey, they put them at different levels. Most of them are at level 4 or 11. So whether you're playing a lower level campaign or a higher level campaign, you'll have stats for these characters. It also helps if you want these characters to survive, or if they just happen to survive their first encounter with the PCs and want to come back at them later at a higher level. You can do it with that too. And information, of course, about the Aspis Consortium and how all of these here characters fit in with the Aspis Consortium. All right, and there are 3 more products in the bundle. We have a Gonna Throw Paperwork, a Barrister Origami folder. You could do a Barrister Origami folder. You might not want to throw confidential origami at your opponents, or they could, unwrap them and read them. All right, and 3 more products. I've never actually reviewed this. I think I skimmed over it. Too nervous about feeling like I was shilling my own products. So I'm just going to go over this again a little bit more quickly, and if we do a bigger wrap up on products in which this would fit, I will go ahead with that. So Star Spinners is a expansion to Kitsune of Galarian written by yours truly. It is also in the bundle, so go get it from the bundle, and you won't have to pay any more for it than that. Star Spinner, it's The basic premise is that Numerian Kitsune in Kitsune Galarian um, are really love their Kitsune Star Gems. Kitsune Star Gems, based very much on the lore of the Kitsune, are basically a Kitsune's innate magic could overflow and crystallize naturally, and they could channel that magic to power their innate spells. It gives you bonus innate spells per day. The Numerian Kitsune are completely nomadic, only have what they hold, and use the star gems of their have know a technique that lets them use the star gems of their ancestors to kind of commune with them. So it's very important to them that these individuals called star spinners can keep the gems spinning and keep them safe. They put them in these large shells like the one you could see here and on the cover that protect them. And over time, they've learned to use these for not only powering their innate magic, but also as weapons. So the Star Spinner dedication actually lets you telekinetically control your Star Gem and fling it at people and hit them in the head with it to do bludgeoning damage. With the dedication, you get to choose one of a bunch of different materials here. Like Abyssium lets your gem poison people and powers up your Killing Stone ability if you pick that Ancestry feat at 14th level. Adamantine gives it adamantine as damage and gives it the tough familiar ability. Most of these feats give you additional familiar abilities that don't use up your normal slots for familiar abilities. So you could end up with a Star Stone that just has, frankly, a ton of different familiar abilities. The Caw Stone lets you count living monolith feats and Star Spinner feats as cross with each other, because there's quite a few of those living monolith feats that say for every living monolith feat you have. Greenwood gives you kind of a druidy one that lets you gives it focus, rejuvenation, and the plant form ability. Anubrix gives it the familiar ability. Anubrix gives it the burrower ability, but it can only burrow through metal, as Anubrix could just pass through metal. It's a rare star gem. Or if you don't want to look at all these and you know what familiar abilities you want, you could always just take Steel, which just gives you 2 additional familiar abilities. Oh, the Star Mark one. I do like that one. It lets you turn your Star Orb into a tattoo. It also gives it the lifelink ability, because just having an ability is, just having the tattoo ability, you need a little bit more than that. There are rules here. I do want to point out there are rules here for being a Star Spinner without being a Kitsune. There's a rare background feat that gives you the Star Orb Ancestry feat. There's some conspiracies in this book about Star Orbs and Aeon Stones being related that I want to expand on in a future release. So there's really no reason this is only for Kitsune, but it is primarily for Kitsune. And why would you want to play any other Ancestry? I'm kidding. There's a new familiar ability in here called Roll. It lets your Star Gem roll. It could roll downhill faster. Probably not as good as Fly, but it's amusing, and any kind of a familiar that has a round shape could take it. So if you have a Hedgehog familiar and you bought the Pathfinder Infinite Community Mega Bundle at bundle.infinite.net, you could totally take the roll ability on it, and your little hoglet can roll downhill with you. Helen in chat just said they almost went Kitsune for Ruby Phoenix, but dragons. Oh, I hear you. Yeah, being a dragon in that would be really fun. In addition, there are feats in here that could get you multiple Star Orbs. So if you want to play that fantasy where you're that psychic who has all these little orbs floating around them and they just launch them at people, you could go ahead and take Spell Array, Star Array. What is that thing called? Star System could give you additional ones. In addition, Starfinder could give you additional Star Orbs. There's quite a few feats in here to get additional Star Orbs, and that lets you attack from multiple angles, attack from up to 1,000 feet away, as long as there's some limitations on that, but essentially that. You could focus more on the martial side of things and get feats like Meteor Shot that give you additional weapon traits to your Starstone. You could focus on more the mystic side of things and get stuff like Starfinder or Translate Star that give you additional innate spells, additional buffs to your innate spells, additional innate spells per day. Shape-changing star lets your star orb turn into a kind of copy of you or another kitsune, depending on how you want to flavor that. There's a feat in here specifically for shamans from the Legendary Shaman book that lets you use your star orb as a relic and basically use it as one of your spirits with some buffs there. There's some buffs here for alchemists that let them deliver their alchemical bombs when they use their attacks. You can stick Aeon Stones in your Star Orb to resonate with everyone in the party with them. There's just a lot of cool stuff in here you could do. Oh, I did love this. This was one of the first feats I wrote for this was Star Surfer. After hours of embarrassing practice, you've learned how to balance atop your Star Orb and use it to fly. You could ride on a flying Star Orb. The Star Orb moves using its fly speed and actions. Make a DC 30 acrobatics check. This is a 16th level feat. To balance each time you take damage or the Star Orb moves, including force movement. So you can balance and fly on top of this basketball-sized down to baseball-sized Star Orb. And I really like the idea of whisking around a battlefield on top of your orbs while you have a bunch of other orbs slamming against people. It feels more like an NPC or a villain. I will admit, Jacob Blackman did make, and I love it, love it, love it. I love his cover here. He did make the character Kolek here look very villainous as he is fawning over his Star Orb. But you know what? I'm perfectly fine with that. Kolek could be as villainous as he feels. I enjoy that very much. Oh, there's a Magus thing in here too. If you're a Magus, you can spell strike with your Star Orb too. Do you even have to be a Magus? No, you don't. Yeah, you have to take a couple feats to get it, but it gives you the spell strike ability with your unarmed strike with a specific tradition of spells you could cast. But you can only do it once per minute, or when you cast an innate spell that you've gained from a Star Spinner archetype or Ancestry feat. Innate spells from a Star Spinner archetype or Kitsune Ancestry feat is repeated quite often in this book, which gives it a lot of crossover with the Nine-Tailed Inheritor archetype from Kitsune Galarian. Mr. Cab in chat saying, so you take your baseball-sized orb and you throw it at who? Who with capitals? I'm afraid I don't quite understand. You take your baseball-sized orb and you throw it at who? I mean, you throw it at anybody. It's an attack roll. Oh, you do also get Flurry of Blows. That's what Meteor Shower did. So you could throw more Star Orbs per round. Oh, who's on first? Oh, my lord. I fell for a who's on first joke. All right, so that just happened. I love it. All right. Spell Tricksters. I feel like everyone here knows this by now. It's the Spell Trickster archetype from Grand Bazaar gives you kind of mini feats that let you modify a specific spell. And this gives you a whole bunch of more of these mini feats to modify a whole bunch of more spells. My goal with this Spell Tricksters book was literally to get spells that I don't see people cast a lot or talk about a lot, largely because they are exploration mode spells, let's call them. They're out of combat spells, and I wanted to give them some combat use. So that was my primary thing in here. Or in other cases, there were just some cool ideas. I mean, some of these were just, they're fine spells on their own, but this makes them really cool. Or just different, like Binding Armor lets you turn Mage Armor into an offensive spell. So you could capture somebody in a Mage Armor, and it makes them harder for them to move because the armor doesn't fit. Index Tome lets you use Approximate to do research checks. Sniper's Lantern lets you use Dancing Lights to hit better with ranged attacks. Telekinetic Bomb lets you throw bombs with telekinetic projectile. Summon Musical Musicians lets you use Summon Instrument to summon a really messed up large instrument that can't play, but you could use it for catapult ammunition or other siege weapons. Any siege weapon that uses rocks, junk, or similar ammunition. Destruction Disc lets you attack with your floating disc. Just throw it at somebody and do force damage. De-Style lets you use Restyle to make somebody's outfit ugly and gauche instead of making your outfit better. Red String of Fate lets you use Tether offensively to make it so somebody can't run away from you. Snowball Fight lets you, when you throw Snowball, it doesn't go away after it's thrown. It can be picked up from whatever square the target was in and thrown again. Which that could be very dangerous if you don't have an ally waiting near the enemy to pick it up before the enemy picks it up. Unseen Knight lets you lets you basically put armor on your Unseen Servant, and it can flank with you. It can't attack, but it could flank with you, and it has armor, so it could probably survive a hit a little bit more easily. It gives you a little more you can do with your Unseen Servant. One of the weirder ones, some of these I put in here, I don't even know what to do with them. Like, I know there's something someone will break a campaign with. Synchronized Dismissal lets you synchronize to select any number of ongoing spell effects or magic item effects on a willing target. And when Synchronize ends, all the effects are dismissed. Like, I think the best use of this would be like a bunch of light spells in an otherwise dark room, and you could just dismiss them all, and then it's completely dark. Like, you could do something like that. It's just neat. It's fun. The book also includes a bonus 14th level feat that automatically lets you take 2 8th level or lower archetype feats, which I personally believe if you want to go 20th level Spell Trickster, you really need that. Spell Trickster feats are like 75% of a feat in power, which is why the dedication gives you 2 right off the bat. So if you want to take it to higher levels, you do need that Master Trickster. Incidentally, these are all free on Foundry. This entire module is supported in Foundry. You could download the Spell Trickster Foundry module in Foundry. The book also has trick tags, which are basically spell tricks in an item. So if you don't want to take the archetype, you can still use this book from if you buy the bundle. Just look up the cost of a trick tag, find a Calamancer, i.e. a spell trickster, who knows that trick, and they could craft you their trick on a little scroll, and you get this consumable single-use spell trick, which a lot of these are probably so niche enough that you'll probably only want the trick tag for it, so that makes some sense. There's a bit of a theme in here of Tales. There is a Kitsune Calamancer, that is the faction of spell tricksters in Absalom, who has some feats like Grim Tendrils and Prismatic Spray, where he turns his tails into them, and basically can do different ranges and sizes of these attacks. The first 2 feats that I wrote for this were, the first one was Pyroclastic Bubble. It lets you use Air Bubble to enhance a Burning Hands or Fireball spell. Basically, you could charge up the Burning Hands or Fireball inside the air bubble in the palm of your hand and then burst it out, and it does a bigger radius for every round that you charged it up, which played a huge role in the backstory of the NPC in this story. And Choking Bubble was the other one, which lets you use Air Bubble as an offensive spell to effectively silence somebody and they begin suffocating. I do love Air Bubble as a spell. I love creative uses of it. I love seeing creative uses of it as a GM. So that is kind of what inspired wanting to write this in the first place. And I'll go ahead and use this opportunity to announce that I will be writing expansions to this book. I've hinted at it before, but I'm definitely doing it. I definitely want to do one that uses a lot of primal spells. And I definitely want to do one that just uses every single spell from, or most of the spells from Knights of Last Wall. So I will definitely be getting on that. And there will be more spell tricks and more spell tricksters. And I'll probably include the rules for trick tags, the dedication, and the generic feats. I'll probably include those in that as well, just so people who only pick up Spell Tricksters 2 Unnamed book will have access to those feats as well. Like I did just reprint the dedication in here from Grand Bazaar, and I've seen other Infinite creators do that as well, and I appreciate it. I like it. The fewer books players have to have at the table, the better. If you are like making an entire book of Lion Blades and it expands on the archetype, and you want to put in all 4 Lion Blade archetype feats from the original Lion Blades, go ahead and do it. Like, it's not necessary. A lot of us will play on BTT anyway, or we'll copy and paste all of our feats into our character sheet. But it's nice. I like it. I appreciate it. I think it's nice. You don't need to do it for all your additional feats, but just the core ones. Oh, thank you there, Faceless. Thank you very much. Yeah, do like this book a lot. I like a lot. And finally, in bundle.infinite.net, in the Paizocon Community Mega Bundle, you will... Oh, I should have done that so you can see the whole book. You will also get access to... you'll also get a copy of Starstone the Ascension. This book, which pairs very well with Cantrippers, it's a simulated TCG inside of your Pathfinder game. It uses the standard Hero deck, and it has some extra Hero decks along with it that you could put into your VTT or print out yourself or use however you want, with some cool artwork. It is basically like, it's kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Played with a Harrow. It was inspired by the single paragraph in Grand Bazaar that mentions a similar game played at the Aussie toy shop, and expands on that paragraph to a ridiculous extent to give you this fully playable, fun game you could play at your tables. It's super easy to learn. You don't even really have to know the rules to play it. The way the game works is both players just take turns playing cards face down. When there are 9 cards face down, the game ends, and players flip the cards face up one at a time clockwise, and each card tries to take control of the Starstone in the center. So the first card just gets it, the next card fights whatever is in there, so on and so forth. There are location and action cards that can't take the Starstone, but can swing the game one way or the next, one way or another. Each card has its own stats, which are all revealed here in this book. So if you want to play like they do in Absalom without any text on the cards, you could do that and then refer to this book after the cards are laid down to see what happened in this crazy game you just played. In addition, there are cards. These cards are said to be made by children. They are blank cards that kids could draw on themselves. There are also blank cards included in the box. There are also cards with more sophisticated illustrations, we will call them, which I don't see here in this PDF, but they're in there. There are also stats in here for hero decks. There are stats in here for booster packs. There are also pre-generated booster packs in here. There's hundreds of pre-generated booster packs, so you could just roll the die, go to the page, and it will show you what cards you get, which ones are and aren't foil. They were all balanced out on PDFs with 1 page per booster pack. There are prices for single cards, which are fun if you want to use these as treasure. Even if your players don't want to play the game, they could get a $100+ premium rare hero card. And there are stats in here for the Illuso disc, which is a way to make the cards come to life in an illusion above the battlefield, to kind of show these various creatures and adventurers fighting for the Starstone. And there's different formats. You could just play just using a hero deck. You could customize your own deck. You can play using randomly generated booster packs. There's tons of different ways to play. There's even a gambling version of the game that you can't play in the toy store, but is played in bars. You're not going to charge microtransactions for people to get booster packs from you? No, I'm not. No, I'm not, Novel. You could get as many booster packs as you want. I think this plays really well with cantrippers. You would have to assign a cantrip to each of your cards, but that's pretty easy to do. And it adds that extra layer of flavor to it. I believe there's even, I know there's a reference in here to cantrippers. Oh, yeah. So the rules to the game in character are all, like, what each card does is dictated by Ozzy's assistant, and nobody's sure where they get the stats for it necessarily, but they do know that all of Erez's familiar outsiders, these outsiders called card cherubs that are associated with the Church of Erez, for some reason know what all the cards do. As soon as they're assigned by the store owner of Merryworks Toy Store in Merry Gleam Toy Store in the Grand Bazaar, which you could learn more about in Lost Omens Grand Bazaar. In addition, there are some hero cards from elsewhere in Avestan. Some of these are inspired by the Lost Tarot cards mentioned in prior editions of Pathfinder. Some of these are just absolutely completely new. They have neat artwork. These are all Thuvian, so they're taken from art pieces, royalty-free art pieces from old alchemy books. The Ushlavik cards are taken either from some royalty-free covers or some paintings that I happened to make in art school. And the Lost Hero cards are kind of the traditional hero cards that, nobody knows what happened to them. At one point they were part of the hero and now they're not. There's some Goken hero cards, Osirian hero cards. So I kind of like that idea of these people coming in. It could help flavor it a lot to have like somebody from Goka who collected, certain cards in their culture, and they brought it over and came to the toy store, and Ozzy at the toy store was like, oh, the Gumio, that should get boosts for every tail it unlocks and unlock tails as it battles. So that's what it does. And it could really help flavor your NPCs. Oh, the Darkwood hero cards. I forgot about those. There's also the Darkwood hero cards. Yes. The Roseblood Sprite was actually one of the first of those. Do people use this like tarot? They should. Yes, actually, the Harrow traditionally is used like tarot. This is effectively using a tarot deck like a trading card game, which it does say in here. Most Harrow readers are don't enjoy. They're less spiteful of it than they are the people who use it for gambling, but they aren't too thrilled. There are rules for using the Harrow as tarot cards from Paizo. You can order the Harrow deck. Here it is. Haha! You can order the Harrow deck from Paizo, and it has full rules in there for using. Designed by Mark Seifert, but not Mark Seifert. Designed by Jason Bowman and Mike Selinker. Yes, yes. There are full rules in here for conducting Harrows. They use alignments instead of suits, and they use a combination of alignments and ability scores. And there's full detailed rules about how to use the Harrow in your campaigns. There was a prestige class in first edition, and I believe an archetype. And if you are more interested in playing that kind of a character in Pathfinder 2e, you should check out Cantripper, another Pathfinder Infinite product that is not in the bundle, but is really cool, and I like it a lot. So yeah, let's just head back to PDF. Hooray! So, oops, wrong page. There we have it. So, thank you all very much. Special thank you to everybody who participated in and has purchased and has talked so great, has talked up this amazing, amazing mega bundle. It will be up for another 24 hours, and then it will be gone forever. There will be another bundle in August for Gen Con. If you want to be part of that bundle, check out my Discord in July. There will be a ping out to all Infinite creators. Also, you should check out, if you want to see more reviews on more things in the bundle, you should go ahead and check out shows.infinite.net, and that will have all the shows listed in a Excel spreadsheet, in a Google Sheet, and with a little ping next to those that are in the bundle. Finally, and furthermore, you should check out the mailing list. Go to mailinglist.infinite.net or mail.infinite.net and sign up for the mailing list. It's a Pathfinder Infinite mailing list. It will have information on new products and coupon codes along with many of those products. And if you want to be in the mailing list, or you just want to hang out on the Chillest Pathfinder Infinite community on Discord, you should check us out at infinite.net. There are creators, there are fans, there is a wonderful community of accepting, great, awesome, chill, amazing people who love helping people, whether you have been publishing for years and are looking for great authors and artists, or you want to get into this publishing game and you have no idea where to start. It's perfect for you. Special shout out to all of our subscribers and everybody in chat. Special shout out to everybody, frankly, for supporting this whole project so much. You're all incredible. Special shout out to Helen Savor for managing and making and frankly doing everything on this awesome mailing list. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember, there's infinite possibilities with infinite reviews.